He joins us via the phone right now. Dustin, how are you?
Good. What's going on, Ariel?
Not much. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. First things first, you tweeted out some pictures of your leg. Could you tell us how is your leg feeling on this Monday afternoon?
Yeah, that was last night. It's even worse today. The bruising's a lot worse. I can't bend it, but I can walk on it. So I'm actually at the zoo right now with my daughter. So it's all good, man.
Oh wow.
Find out. I'll get an MRI done, and we'll see what's going on exactly.
Okay. Well, and by the way, I really appreciate you taking some time out while you're with your daughter. That's very cool of you to do. Do you have any idea as to what the injury might be, or does it just feel really bruised right now?
Yeah, it just was really bruised. It feels a little unstable, but that could be from all the swelling. And I think it's just trauma. I'm gonna be fine.
Was it a buildup of damage that it took throughout the fight, or was there one point in particular where you felt it got injured?
It was a little bit of both. The build-up throughout the fight obviously put some hurting on it, but there was one kick that kind of skimmed my kneecap, and I felt my leg kind of give a little bit. But I don't think it's serious.
Okay. Did you enjoy that, Dustin? Like it seems to me like you actually love those kind of fights, even though they're at times quite brutal to watch and there's a lot of damage inflicted both ways. Do you like that sort of thing, or would you prefer like a quick 15-second fight?
I would prefer to get in and get out without limping around or getting stitched up or anything like that. But that's just not how fighting works at this level for the most part. You know, you got to expect fights like this, especially with opponents like that, like Justin. But mentally I was prepared, and I could have fought another 2 rounds like that. I was prepared for a violent fight.
Was he tougher than you expected, or was he as you expected?
He was as I expected. I actually maybe a little tougher. I hit him with some big shots, and he just kept coming forward, and he took some serious shots in that fight, man, and kept it together for the most part. So the dude's a warrior. We knew that going into it, but feeling it firsthand was crazy.
The knock on him throughout his career is he's incredibly entertaining, he's exciting, but he does take a lot of damage, and he has somewhat of a reckless style. And we all wondered, once he gets to the UFC, will this style catch up to him? Will he not be able to get through, the top 5 because he just takes so much damage? Do you feel like that's kind of coming into play here? Like it's all sort of playing out as many people expected. Like his style is just not going to translate into these big victories because you guys are just too good in the top 5.
Yeah, you just have to have a different mindset. I mean, you need a bit of that for sure. You have to be tough. All these guys are tough, but at some point you have to start trying to outsmart and outthink and outplan these top fighters. You can't just go into it and say, I'm going to be tougher than you. Heavy bags are tough, but I've never been beat by one.
Yeah. So you would act like if he confided in you, the advice you would give him is it's time to evolve. Like you've reached a certain point, but you can't continue taking this kind of damage.
Right, and unless you're committed to fighting the 4 or 5 fights that you said that you want to retire after, you're going to take too much damage. You have a lot of skills that you're not showing, and I think he should. He's a All-American wrestler, and I'm sure he has some jiu-jitsu, but he wants to entertain the fans, but he needs to do himself a little bit as well.
It feels like you have found that perfect balance, because I can't recall you ever being, especially in the UFC, in a boring fight. And yet, you're continuing to entertain the fans, but now you're winning these big fights. Yes, you're taking damage. It would be nice, as you said, to not take as much, but you have found that balance. Do you feel like it took you a while to find that balance, the entertaining, just bleed guy, and also, being smart and winning fights?
Yeah, and like I've been saying over and over again in interviews, I just think it's sort of growing up, man. I was really young coming into the UFC, and I've always been learning on the job. I think I was 20 years old, maybe when I fought my first fight in the WEC. I was learning on the job all these years, and now I'm just confident in who I am and comfortable. I know I'm a dangerous fighter, and I know I'm one of the best in the world, and I just believe it. I believe in me now, and that's what fighting is. You have to believe, and you have to push yourself every day to be the best, and I do all those things. Like, I cover all my bases, so I just realized all I can do is go in there and let the fight unfold.
I remember not too long ago, there was this label put on you that you couldn't win the big one, that you had a weak chin, that you would get to a certain point, but then the main event fight you couldn't win. Now you have shattered that. stigma. You've won 2 main events in a row. You're taking incredible punches to the face, and you continue to go. You're not getting dropped. Is that part of the maturation as well, or do you feel like you've maybe when when you were fighting the Korean Zombie, you just weren't ready for all of this?
Yeah, I didn't have the level of training needed to compete and win at that level. I was doing training camps on punching bags, and I was doing training camps in the gi the whole time, working on my jiu-jitsu. It was just a different level of preparation I was at. Moving to American Top Team really helped me out a lot. And as far as the chin thing goes, I've been hurt in fights, but a lot of I did half the work for the guy, lunging into shots, being overzealous, opening myself up, being off balance. A lot of stuff plays into getting hurt with punches,
Was there a point where you didn't believe, Dustin, that this would all come together the way it seems to be coming together, like that the critics, the noise was just getting too loud, and that you wouldn't be able to realize your potential?
Honestly, Ariel, there's a few times in my career where I just, after fights, go back home and say, I just know I worked harder than this guy. I know I'm more dedicated than this guy. I know I ran more miles. I dieted harder. I suffered through more things. I put my body through more things. I was more serious. I just knew that it was impossible for a guy to be more focused and more, on track than I was for some of the fights and some of the ones that I lost. And I kind of, it clicked, and I realized that doesn't mean anything, man. It's not about how much you sacrifice, or all that matters is bell to bell, that 15 or 25 minutes, and of course all the preparation helps you prepare to perform under those lights. But that's what I need to be focused on, performance. So now I just have fun through training camp, enjoy my life. I don't treat it any different. Obviously the training's more, but like as part of day-to-day life, if I want to have a glass of wine, I'll have a glass of wine. If I want to have a cheeseburger on a Wednesday, I'll have a cheeseburger. And just, I think simple things like that, just a mindset switch has helped me, fight to my capabilities.
So after the fight, I thought maybe you would say, okay, Eddie, enough is enough. Let's do this. But you completely bypassed Eddie. In fact, as I said at the top of the show, you pulled an Eddie on Eddie. You said, yeah, forget that. I want Khabib. Obviously, we know you want the belt, but why did you not feel the need to even go there? Why did you go straight for the title shot and kind of shoot your shot in that moment?
Because, like I said in the post-fight, I'm not after rematches. I'm not trying to get even with Eddie. I'm trying to be a world champion and grow my savings account for my family and secure my legacy as a UFC world champion, which is what I started fighting to be. I want to be a world champion. That's why I fight. I want to be the best in the world at this. And, the Eddie thing, man, we tried to get that fight. A lot of stuff behind the scenes went on in the last few months before me and Justin Gaethje got booked. Honestly, I haven't told anybody this because I just didn't want to talk about it in preparation to my fight. But me and Eddie were offered a rematch on that Brooklyn card that Tony Ferguson and Khabib were on. And we're told that, or my management told me pretty much, like, they're probably trying to book this fight because if they fall out, one of you guys are going to replace it. I accepted the fight. Eddie turned it down. And this was, months ago. So we could have been on that card. Eddie probably would have fought. He's ranked higher than me. He probably would have fought for the belt a couple weekends ago.
Wow. So when all this is unfolding,
and I didn't tell anybody that because I just didn't want to harp on and talk about all that stuff like that,
No, I understand. But now, you must have been watching this insanity unfold. And what are you thinking? You could have been the guy to slide in there, right?
Right. Or Eddie would have, if we'd have been matched up on that card, it would have been me or Eddie, But everything happens for a reason, and here we are.
And so is it fair to say you're done with the Eddie thing? Like you're not even interested in exploring that anymore? If they go in a different direction, if they get Conor to come back, whatever, and they go with that, will you not accept the fight against them?
No, if I do not get a title shot next, it's going to be Eddie.
Oh, okay. Is that what you've been told?
No, that's what I'm telling them.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
How possible is the title shot? Like, how close do you think you are? Do you think that the stars could align for you here? If Conor doesn't come back and Ferguson's out, I mean, I don't think this is a crazy idea. What do you what were you? I'm sure someone told you something afterwards. What do you think? What are the chances?
I think there are pretty good chances, man. Just the timeline for Tony, I think, was 9 months. And then I guess we got to see with Conor. Maybe he comes back or maybe he doesn't. We'll get that figured out, hopefully. But, I mean, Khabib's manager reached out to me and told me I'm the next guy in line that they want to fight me. So we'll see.
Wow. After this Gaethje fight?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's pretty big. And did he
Yeah.
say when? When they want to fight you?
No, but I'm hearing rumors of maybe Russia and stuff like that. So, man, I'm ready to travel and see Russia. Let's do it.
You would have no problems going to Russia to fight him.
No problems.
Wow. And by the way, why did Eddie turn down the fight? Were you ever given a reason?
No, actually, it was offered a bunch of times, man. Yeah, there was a bunch of cards that they offered to fight on. I accepted every time they offered it, and Eddie turned it down every time. So I don't know. I think it was actually 5 times, Ariel.
Wow. So what do you make of him at this point? That the fact that he doesn't want to take the fight, has this changed the way you think of him?
Either he thinks it's a bad. Yes, it's not just the fact that he's not taking the fight, but the things that he said after our fight, and just the way he acted after. I try to stand up for the man and tell the crowd, stop booing him. This guy's not a dirty fighter. Have some respect for this guy as a former world champion. And, I've been watching the guy fight for a long time, since HD Net, since they were doing specials on him. And I was a young fighter. I looked up to the guy. And just the way he acted after that, saying that I was trying to milk the knee, or he tweeted me saying, are you finally off your stool yet? And all kinds of stuff like that. Just very disrespectful whenever, this isn't a bar fight. Like, you don't knee somebody in the head illegally and you'd expect the guy to just keep going like it didn't hurt. Like, he flashed me really good with that knee, and it could have changed the outcome of the fight. That's not, this is a sport. There has to be some line drawn.
You had that amazing moment afterwards in the post-fight interview talking about just wanting that one night with the belt to tell your wife that you made it. Your wife has been with you since before you were known in the sport, sleeping in the car and all that stuff and more. Is that at this point the driving force? Because we hear from people that say, "Oh, once I stopped caring about the belt, that's when I started to perform." But you're very open in saying, "I want the belt. I want that one night of glory. I want to go to bed with that belt." Is that the single thing that drives you at this point?
Yeah, and of course, securing a future for my daughter, and having money for her, and feeding my family, obviously. But yeah, I want to, like you said earlier, there are other fights that I've lost or gone back to my house and thought about and actually if it's ever going to happen. There was times where I didn't believe in myself, and my wife never stopped believing in me, man. It makes me emotional to talk about. She's never, like, her confidence has never wavered, never been broken. She's always believed in me every time, bad performance, whatever happened, she's always believed in me. And that's amazing, man.
And she has been with you since before you were a fighter?
Yeah. Since I was 14 years old.
Wow. Did you mean in school?
Yes, middle school.
Wow. And you talked about like how grim were those moments? You guys were sleeping in a car when you were starting out?
No, I didn't have a car. We used her car. Dude, I mean, it was crazy. I would wake up early. We were living together since 18 maybe, but I would wake up early in the morning. I would ride a bicycle to a small gym. I would lift and run. Then I would go to work all day. She would pick me up, take me to an MMA gym or a boxing gym, pick me back up. She's been my road dog since day one. And there were times where she would drive, 5 hours with me to weigh in on a Friday. She'd have to work on Saturday. I'd stay in the hotel. She'd sleep the night in the hotel with me. She'd wake up at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m., drive all the way back to work, get off of work, drive all the way back and meet me there for the fight. I mean, I probably I wouldn't be where I am without her.
Wow. That gives me chills to hear that. That's incredible.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, she's the real deal when it comes to this stuff. Like I said, she believed in me when times when I didn't, and she helped me pull through a lot. And here we are, man. I'm going to be a world champion.
Do you feel like you're starting to finally make the money that you're able to support your family, or do you feel like you're not quite there yet?
No, now these last few fights, I've started to make money to where I can pay my bills and put money away, and but these are main event fights. These are big fights, and that's what comes with it.
And by the way, how is your eye doing? Because I also saw that tweet. How is that feeling today?
My eye, I think I might have a scratch or something. I'm going to see an eye doctor, get it checked out. But it feels real gritty still. I'm being told by people that, stuff like that heals pretty quick, but it still feels like there's something under my eyelid. And I don't know if it was from a punch or from one of the pokes, but something definitely is going on.
How close were you to not being able to continue from the pokes?
Dude, it was crazy because after the first one, doing the second one, when Herb was asking me if I can see, I was just like, give me 1 second. Then he said he's going to get the doctor involved. Well, he said both times. The first time I told him, no, I'm good. Let's go. I don't want the doctor. The second time it was real blurry and he said, I'm getting the doctor. I told him not to and he still did. And then I kind of had like flashback of the whole Eddie thing. I was like, oh, here we go. So the doctor comes in and he's asking me. I'm like, no, I can see, but it was blurry. And I was kind of worried because I started to fight again. I didn't take the time and it was a little blurry. So I was kind of worried about that, but it's all good, man.
Did your vision ever come back later on or was it blurry throughout the rest of the fight?
It was kind of blurry, but it's still kind of blurry out the right eye, but it could have been from blood and stuff too,
Right. And why didn't you take the time?
Well, because I didn't want to rest. I didn't want him to rest. And I just didn't want the doctor thinking about it too much,
Okay.
Like I didn't want them thinking he can't see.
You've been in some wars throughout your career. Where does that one rank? Was that the most brutal fight that you've ever been in?
It's got to be up there, man. It's got to be up there. I'm definitely feeling lumps and bumps and bruises all over my body. I feel like I've been in a car wreck.
Right.
I'm definitely the most sore after any fight. This one for sure.
So I'm guessing. I mean, obviously, you need to see how this whole situation plays out, but you're looking forward to some time off now.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll fight 3 times this year. Maybe I'll fight twice. But I'm going to heal up and get back on the mats. I got some buddies fighting next month here in Louisiana, so I'm getting some local guys ready. And then, as soon as the right fight makes sense, I'll go back to Florida and jump into another training camp. But I'm not in a rush right now.
Well, Dustin, I'll let you go. Congratulations. I feel like I've told you this, a few times before, but I will never forget that post-fight interview after the Korean Zombie fight and how emotional you were. And we all thought that was your fight to get, to the title shot. And to see you overcome that, and of course the Conor fight, Michael Johnson fight, and to see what you're doing now is nothing short of amazing. And I feel like because of the documentary, we've been able to kind of go on this ride with you, and you've given us like this emotional attachment to you, and it's really cool to see the way you're performing these days. So I'm very happy for you. Congratulations on all your success, and I hope that you get that title fight or that big fight next because you certainly deserve it.
Thanks, Ariel. One way or another, we'll get it. It's going to happen.
All right. I look forward to it. Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it very much and get well soon.
Thanks, bro.